At our mental health centers, services are organized around the principles of team-based care. Over time, our services have shifted towards a recovery-focused approach, and part of that shift includes using tools like WHOQOL to assess quality of life.
It's really about looking at the bigger picture, understanding the client's overall life, recovery and their progress over time.
It goes beyond the basics and opens up the door to exploring more sensitive or often overlooked topics. Things like spirituality, psychological health, emotional health, social world, cognitive health, and even people's sexual well-being.
It helped the clinician and me to explore resources and opportunities to help with my recovery. I learned to set goals, which helped me become a participant in my healthcare and not just a patient.
Using the WHOQOL can be a helpful way to start meaningful conversations with clients. They help us to quickly get a sense of how someone is feeling or what their main concerns are, often more clearly than traditional intake processes.
The WHOQOL is a gentle way to explore the quality of life without pressure, and sometimes that's exactly what opens the door to deeper engagement down the line. I also note that the intake process can be really overwhelming for folks. I usually try and give people a paper copy and either go over the questions in the moment or give it to them to take away.
I quickly looked over the questions and I became quite anxious. I didn't know why I needed to answer all those questions.
We want to get your perspective on this. There's no right or wrong answers to any of these. What's really important is that we're getting your perspective and we can use that to guide how we're working together moving forward. The other thing to remember is some of these questions, they might bring up some feelings for you. They might bring up some worries, some anxieties, and maybe some things that you haven't thought about for a while. That's all right, we can talk through some of those things, okay? The most important thing here is to try and figure out what's going on, where we can support you better, and please remember, this is not about judging your experience at all.
It helped to understand why I was doing it. Knowing the purpose really helped it feel meaningful for me. The energy and the attitude mattered. When the person I was working with made it feel like it was meaningful to them, it felt meaningful to me. It felt like I was doing more than just checking boxes. It really helped when they adapted the process to me. This isn't a one-size-fits-all process. Everyone is different.
The way that the tool is introduced and how often you refer back to the assessment, all of those things are dependent on the client's needs and where they're at.
How do you use the WHOQOL scores to shape your planning with clients?
Once all the questions are filled out, as well as the person's able to fill them out, I review them with the client. I might ask questions about how the process was for them, if there were any surprises.
We brainstormed some program activities that could help improve my scoring for the item. And I set a goal for one thing I could try before our next meeting.
I remember I had one client who scored particularly low in the relationships domain. They hadn't mentioned anything about their social life during our sessions, but having that score gave me a reason to gently explore that area. It turned out they were feeling really, really isolated and disconnected, which was deeply affecting their mood and their motivation. Having that insight helped to shift part of our recovery plan to focus on rebuilding social connections. Things like joining the peer support groups or a clubhouse program, or even just making an effort to reconnect with family. Having this kind of information from the WHOQOL helps me see both the client's needs and their strengths more clearly. But it's not just helpful for me, it also gives the client themselves a chance to see those things.
Together, client and clinician explore what's important, what's possible, and what's meaningful. Real progress happens when we set goals with our clients, not for them.
What I've heard from some clinicians is that starting conversations about quality of life with clients can feel a bit awkward. It's not easy to know how to bring it up, especially if it's a new part of their practice or they're unsure about how clients will respond.
I have to say this process hasn't always felt natural for me, but with more and more practice, I feel like I've kind of developed my flow around using the WHOQOL. During that training, I actually took the time to complete the WHOQOL myself. More than that, it helped me appreciate just how personal some of the questions are and what it feels like to answer them.
I can imagine it must be hard when clients aren't motivated. How do you maintain your commitment to using the WHOQOL?
What I've come to realize is that it's not always about motivation. It can be about many, many different things. Sometimes people are feeling uncertain, they're feeling overwhelmed, and they're just not ready to dive into certain conversations. And that's valid, right? And what I always try and do is I try and explore why there's resistance and then address each of those concerns individually.
It's important to strike a balance. We need to consider the time and the workflow demands on clinicians while also recognizing the real benefits the WHOQOL brings to clinical practice, like improving communication, building stronger relationships, setting shared expectations, and even guiding referrals to other services.
I like to think of it as balancing the burdens with the benefits. Through different studies, and even right here at the mental health centers in Fraser Health, clinicians have shared some really practical ways they've successfully used tools like the WHOQOL to explore quality of life with clients.
It's not about what the clinician thinks the client should do. It's about what matters to the client.
Everything that I do now to live my best life, I actually learned by answering those questions on that assessment about my quality of life.
Tools like the WHOQOL open up more person-centered communication pathways. They invite clients into the conversation, help them feel heard and validated. They give us a better understanding of who they are. And not just at that moment, but over time.
It's respectful, it's client-centered, and it gives us a shared language to talk about the areas of life that feel most relevant and impactful.
At the heart of it, this is about being heard, being included, being respected. And that's not just a nice to have. It's a vital part of the recovery and treatment journey. I want to thank each of you for all of the work that you're doing in collective service to the individuals.